Now let's bring in Gordon Houlden, the director of the China Institute at the University of Alberta. He joins us now from Seoul, South Korea. Your reaction to the latest on the detention of a Canadian former diplomat in China and now a second Canadian being questioned?
Well, thank you, Peter. These are both, if the second one is confirmed, very negative news. We, Canada, have been responding to a legal request under the extradition treaty from the United States, and the judge is examining that case. But this is not the first time that China has retaliated by detaining a Canadian. It's pretty clear this is not coincidental. This is payback. Most unfortunate, we don't know yet, has even been consular access in the first case. This makes it, in my view, even harder for the government to respond positively to Chinese demands in the face of what is, in effect, a blackmail by detaining Canadians who would almost certainly not otherwise have been detained.
Now, the U.S. president has said he could intervene if it leads to a trade deal with China. What implications could those statements have?
Well, this is also problematic because our government, our leaders, Prime Minister have been very careful and correctly to state that this is a legal matter before the courts, it's the basis of the rule of law, etc. When the U.S. president, the chief executive, in effect, muses that he might just, for a basis of making a trade deal or on grounds of national security, what those were, I'm not sure, that he might have Hmong released, that makes it complicated for us. That flies in the face of the Canadian statements and the U.S. general practice. We'll see if that's sustained as a U.S. position. There's already been pushback in the U.S. Congress and from former government officials saying this is inappropriate, but we'll see how far this goes. It makes it complicated for the judge and for the government of Canada.
Well, we heard Chrystia Freeland saying, let's leave the politics out of this. It's a legal matter, but there are repercussions that are coming short term. What about long term against both Canada and the U.S.?
Well, there's potential long term economic consequences if we get to a situation, we're not there yet. Consular advice is still just exercise caution. When we get to a point where it's not judged to be safe or prudent for Canadian business people to visit, or if the Chinese start warning their own business people not to come to Canada, that puts us in a difficult place in terms of diversifying our trade and building that trade. I hope that is not going to be the case. But in the short run, it's nervous making for Canadians who may be going there. They should watch that consular advice very carefully. I would hope that this will blow over fairly quickly, but I believe that Madame Hmong now doesn't have another hearing until February. So we know this is going to be with us for weeks and months, not just days.